Hello everyone and welcome to my final book haul for the month of June. I am filming this on June 22nd and I am not expecting any more books as of right now, and it will depend on what I read for the rest of the month. If I read the first book in a series and I own a copy of it and I need the second book, then I'll order that, but anything like that will be included in my July book haul. So, or if I have, I still have plenty of library books to go through, and if I absolutely love the book that I read from the library book and want my own copy, again, I will include that in the July haul. If that happens, who knows? It just depends on what I read for the rest of the month of June. I only have 13 books to tell you about. 2 of these are not reading books. There is some reading involved, but these are actually arts and crafts books. I am getting into crocheting. Let me show you. So I am getting into crocheting. I tried, there's a brand that I've seen an ad for called Woobles. I tried that. I did a penguin, and then they had a Snoopy version. And the thing with Woobles is they are very expensive. It's like $30 if it's not something that is in collaboration with another company. For example, you can do Harry Potter, so you can do the mascots for each of the houses, Voldemort, Nagini, Dumbledore, things like that. And those ones are at least $40 to $45. So I did the owl, which was more around 30 bucks, 30 or 35. And then I bought, because I know my mom absolutely loves Snoopy, they had one that was in collaboration with Snoopy. And so I did Snoopy and Woodstock. And so I did those for her. And because the order came to over $30, they sent this little mini lion head. I gave them all to my mom. They have them in her room. For me, I am absolutely loving crochet. And here's the thing. One, I find it just as soothing to me and relaxing as doing diamond painting and cross stitch. I love diamond painting and I love cross stitching, and now I love crocheting. I would love to learn how to knit as well. I know that is slightly different, but you can make the same type of things. It's just different techniques. So I would like to learn to knit, but I want to get more advanced into crocheting before I attempt knitting. So like with diamond painting, I've been working on these coasters, and these are what I have done so far. I'm working on these for my uncle who is currently residing in Idaho. So I'm just making these coasters for him for Christmas. So just some coasters. And I love the thing with crocheting, cross stitch and diamond painting, is and same thing with putting a jigsaw puzzle together. I love how it feels when it's done. It's very texturally pleasing to me, and I love it. So I'm working on that. I do have some other coasters that are coming for another uncle that lives here in Utah that's going to be Disney characters. So Daffy Duck, Daisy Duck, Mickey, Minnie, those types of things. But as far as crocheting goes, the 2 that I did for me, it came in a kit, and it's 3 little flower gnomes. So this was my very first attempt. I crocheted the arms all the way down, so he's way stiff, and crocheted the hat down, which I think it's better if the hat is not affixed to it. But again, this was my very first attempt. So I do recommend the Woobles as far as step-by-step and the close-up that they have on the hands of the material. I do recommend that for the first time. After that, if you need a repeat, then maybe. But because it's expensive and you don't get patterns, you have to scan the code. So if I want to make another Snoopy, I'm out of luck because I don't have the pattern for it. So I could have written it down, but I didn't. Anyway, so little purple flower gnome. This one I finished last night. The hat I really kind of screwed up on. So here's the hat. It detaches. This one's more of an orange, but it's still okay for my second attempt. And then here is the gnome, his little nose, his beard, and then you can take the hat off. He just sits like that. So I am absolutely loving crocheting. I love how this feels. So I got 2 other crochet books. I have Afghan Crochet Patterns for Beginners. This is by Nancy Gordon. So I do have this one. So I can do the textured wave, textured wave stitch, which is pattern number 14 in this. Talks about, number 5, the overlapping post stitch. So I'll learn some different, because I would like to crochet a blanket. So I have seen some YouTubers that crochet like what they call a book blanket. So they choose a color for the genre or the star rating, and then depending, it's either a color for the star rating or the genre, I think is the color, and then they do a certain type of stitch depending on the star rating, or vice versa, something like that. And I thought that was a very cute idea, so I would like to learn how to do that. So I did get myself Afghan crochet patterns for beginners. The other crochet book I got is 20 Easy Amigurumi, I'm sure I slaughtered that, patterns. Crochet magical creatures. I love the little mushroom, got a dragon, looks like a unicorn cat or something, I don't know, on the front. So I can do a garden fairy and Quentin the gnome. Oh, here's a little octopus. Oh, Kraken. Conrad the Kraken. So a bunch of different, there's a mermaid, a unicorn, so a bunch of mythical creatures, and I thought I would definitely have fun with that. So loving crocheting. I just need to get yarn. So my goal is to finish. I have one more of these gnomes to do. He's going to be yellow. And then I have a kit that my mom's boyfriend got to me, which is all Harry Potter. I will work on that one next. I did find a crochet kit that's all cats. There's a black cat, a white cat, and then like 3 kitten heads. And then I'll work on that, and then I will start working through these books. So I'm excited. So those are the arts and crafts, non-official literary reading books. Now, let's get into the rest of the books. This first one, there is no synopsis on it, but I did an unboxing video for this one. And this is from Read in Peace Book Club. And so we have clowns here on the sprayed edges and then splattered there. This does have the textured type of green that does actually glow in the dark. And then the back, there is no synopsis, but this is a dark, sexually explicit. Like, I can't show you the end pages because it is sexually explicit. It did come with a signed book plate by Aiden Pierce, and yeah, this one is Circle, holy crap, Sinners and Sideshow. So I think, is this 2 books in one? Okay, so this book is actually 2 books in one. I just found that out. So the book compilation is Sinners and Sideshow. The back of this I'm going to read, and it does get explicit with the language, just so you are aware. The back says, like what you want to like, fuck what you want to fuck. Be messy, be obscene, be yourself, no apologies, no fucks given. So that's the back. Now, the 2 books in this, we have, book number 1 is called Circus Creeps. And that one, I will read the synopsis. It says, welcome to Sinners Sideshow, the most obscene, blood-pumping, skin-crawling creep show this side of hell. As a circus brat, showbiz is in my blood. And as a half succubus, I was made for Sinners Sideshow, the only circus made to entertain the most depraved of monsters. When I'm plunged into a dark world of death, darkness, and corpse-ridden carnivals, I meet them, the demonic ringmaster, a broody hellhound shifter, and the incubi clown twins. Suddenly, I know why I felt a strong pull to the demented circus for years. I wasn't just made for Sinners Sideshow, I was made for Alistair, Damien, Riff, and Raph too. The problem? They don't hire half-bloods, but I'll do anything to secure a spot in the show, even if it means making deals with devils, adopting an entirely different kind of sword-swallowing act, and giving my heart, body, and soul to the ringmaster and his twisted circus creeps. It does say this is a male-male, female, male-male, why choose demon romance, featuring dark themes and many triggers. So look up your content and trigger warnings. So that's book number 1. Number 2 is called Carnival Creeps. So Circus Creeps and then Carnival Creeps. And for Carnival Creeps, it says, welcome to Sinner's Carnival, the most gruesome, blood-curdling attraction this side of hell. So it's starting out the same. Selling myself to a shadow demon to secure a position at the Devil's Circus is all fun and games until the horsemen of the apocalypse show up. I fought too long and hard for a place at Sinner's Sideshow to let anyone take it from me. Not conquest, not war, not even death himself, and most certainly not my own mother. A terror-inducing carnival filled with sinful rides, violent haunts, and funnel cake might just be the psychotic plan that saves the troop of creeps I now call family. All it will cost is my mortal soul. And what use is that when I already intend on spending an eternity in hell? A willing pet to my demonic ringmaster and the rest of my monstrous men. One thing is certain, there will be dark thrills and wicked games at the Sinner's Carnival. The only question is, can you afford the admission? This sounds good and very dark. And again, look up the content and trigger warnings. From what I can tell, it is going to be very sexually explicit, and I don't know how dark it is, but it sounds like it's going to be very dark, and I am finding I like the dark. So the next book I got was in the Twisted Desires book club, and that is Hitched by Lauren Biel, and this is a dark hitchhiker romance. Purple with black splatter sprayed edges, and then there's the back. It says, the rabbit's foot sways in the car, a bad omen that I chose to ignore. Her innocent face and offer for a ride are too tempting. Little does she know I'm a dangerous man on the run, a sociopath with a thirst for the thrill of the hunt. Selena is my rabbit, and I'm about to ensnare her in my trap. As we speed toward the border, emotions I thought I was incapable of stir within me, but danger lurks around every turn, and the stakes rise with each passing moment. What will happen when we reach our destination? Will I let her go, or will I keep her by my side forever? I can show you the end pages. Outside of that, I can't really show you much, but the front and the back are the same. It's just a cabin. There is a rabbit on the inside, and that's it. So the dust jacket is reversible, but there is a little sexually explicit image. So yeah, Twisted Desires, again, dark, and this is a romance, a dark hitchhiker romance. The next one is one that I saw advertised for on Instagram, and I absolutely love the covers, and so I got these, and it's this stack right here. I will read the synopsis of these ones as well. So these are all part of a series. There's 4, and this is the Magic Wars Demons of New Chicago series. All books written by Carpenter, and this is the first book, Touched by Fire. I'm hired to stop a demon summoning. The last thing I expect is to end up bonded to one instead. Being a supernatural bounty hunter isn't exactly a popular job, but after the Magic Wars, there aren't many things a human can do that will put food on the table. Thankfully, anything my right hook can't handle, my guns can. Or so I thought. When a demon summoning runs awry, the being that comes into this world changes everything. I'm not sure if he's truly a demon or a god, but one look into his dark eyes and I know Ronan will never let me go. If he can catch me, that is. Come on, motherfucker. So that is book number 1, Touched by Fire. Book number 2 in the Demons of New Chicago series is Haunted by Shadows. And I will read the synopsis of this, but there are some things that I think spoil the previous book, so something in this will mention, and this will spoil the first one. So just so you are aware, you can skip ahead a little bit until I'm no longer holding this book, and I'll keep it up. So, and the same thing with book number 2, or book number 3, and then book number 4. I used to hunt witches. Now I live with one. To further complicate things, my past as a supernatural bounty hunter doesn't exactly make me popular in these new circles I'm running in. Shocker, I know. Someone wants me dead. Unfortunately for them, I'm pretty good at keeping myself alive. Not that it stops Ronan from being an alpha hole. He wants me to stay in Natalie's apartment and be safe while he handles the threat, all while holding Bree's future over my head. Not going to happen. To say I'm fucked is an understatement, but I've been in worse spots before. Lucifer may be gone, but the corruption of magic isn't. I have enemies everywhere, and this time they're going to know what it means to burn. Some things are worse than the devil. To save Bree, I'll become one of them. Book number 3 is Blood Be Damned. When the underworld burned, I thought that was the end. Turns out it was only the beginning. Lucifer's death was a shot heard around the world. The sudden loss of magic turned the tides for the first time in over 2 decades. The humans are rallying, rioting. It feels like the stirrings of war. As if that wasn't enough. Bree isn't the sister I remember, and her desire to return to hell is creating more fires than I know how to put out. Things are changing, lines are drawn. Everyone must choose a side, even me. Sometimes the world needs a hero. In a city that's already gone to hell in a handbasket, it might just need a demon. And the last book in this series is Forged by Fury. Very similar covers, but absolutely gorgeous. Love these covers. Witch Hunter, Rage Demon, Queen of New Chicago. I've gone by many names over the years. After a decade of hiding who and what I am, I finally stepped into the light to pave the way for a better future. I expected to be challenged for the right to rule, but not like this. Lorcan's arrival into our world changes everything. To lead means to sacrifice, to serve. What happens when the price is too great? When is it something you cannot give? It's either the beginning of a new age or the end of one. A single misstep is all it will take to decide which. Just 5 more books to tell you about. Now this next one is the last book that I had to get because the rest of them I already have. This is the last one I had to get for the selection for 2024 for Autism Reads. So this one will be coming up in the next quarter. So the October, November, December. So quarter 4. Will be the selection for one of those months. And I think this one's a young adult if I remember right. But this book is Something More by Jackie Khalilieh. So the goal of the Autism Reads read-along is to read a book that by authors that are confirmed to be autistic, and this author is confirmed to be autistic. So this one is Something More, and it says, 15-year-old Jessie, a quirky loner obsessed with the 90s, is diagnosed as autistic just weeks before starting high school. Determined to make a fresh start and keep her diagnosis a secret, Jessie creates a list of goals that range from acquiring 2 distinct eyebrows to getting a magical first kiss and landing a spot in the school play. Within the halls of Holy Trinity High, she finds a world where things are no longer black and white and quickly learns that living in color is much more fun. But Jessie gets more than she bargained for when 2 very different boys steal her heart, forcing her to go off script. Okay, now, this next one is one of the cases where I borrowed it from the library, absolutely loved it, so I got myself a copy. And this one is A Letter to 3 Witches by Elizabeth Bass. Oh my heck. This is a sweet romance. There is no sexually explicit scenes and language in this. There are a couple of curse words in this, but I would say it is a sweet romance. Not a Christian romance by any means. There is no religious talk in this. Just a sweet romance. And very magical. So I will read the synopsis because it will give you a better idea of what this book is about rather than me telling you about it. So the synopsis says, nearly a century ago, Gwen Ingall's great-great-grandfather cast a spell with catastrophic side effects. As a result, the Grand Council of Witches forbade his descendants from practicing witchcraft. The council even planted anonymous snitchers called Watchers in the community to report any errant spellcasting. Yet magic may still be alive and not so well in Zenobia. And this is in New York. Or is it New York? I can't remember. Anyway, Zenobia. Gwen and her cousins, Trudy and Milo, receive a letter from Gwen's adopted sister, Tanith, informing them that she's bewitched one of their partners and will run away with him at the end of the week. When Gwen frets about whether to trust her scientist boyfriend, currently out of town on a beetle studying trip, she's worried that local grad student Jeremy is secretly a watcher, doing his own research. Cousin Trudy is so stressed that she accidentally enchants her cupcakes, creating havoc among her bakery customers and in her marriage. Perhaps it's time the family took back control and figured out how to harness their powers. How else can Gwen decide whether her growing feelings for Jeremy are real or the result of too many of Trudy's cupcakes? I was giggling several times in this. It's very sweet, very fun. And you also have, so the majority of this is in Gwen's POV, but you do have a couple of chapters from Trudy's animal familiar, who is a black cat named Grizz. So you get a couple of POVs from Grizz's perspective as well. And that was book number 1 in a series. So, of course, because I loved it so much, I had to get book number 2. And that is The Witch Hitch, again by Elizabeth Bass. So I have not read this one yet. So the synopsis says, lots of people get pre-wedding jitters, but Bailey Tomlin's are a bit extreme. Paranoia, the sudden ability to communicate with her pet parrot. Something odd is definitely happening, and while Bailey searches for the perfect dress, she discovers the unexpected reason why her birth mother, Esme, is an actual witch, part of a magical clan in the neighboring town of Zenobia, New York. It is New York. Okay, so I was right from the first book. Esme insists that Bailey, too, has witch blood in her veins. That's not going to play well with Bailey's uptight future in-laws. Then there's Seton Atterby, the man Esme somehow conjured into the present day from 1930, and who keeps crashing into Bailey's plans. In addition to figuring out seating charts and boutonnieres, Bailey now has to navigate her new witch family, keep an unseen enemy from hexing the ceremony, placate her fiancé, and get Seton back to his own time. But Seton doesn't know if he wants to go back, and though Bailey is about to marry someone else, someone who isn't technically 120 years old, it's just possible she doesn't want Seton to go back either. 2 more. This next one is book 2 in a series, and this one is, what is the name of the series? I can't remember, but book number 2 is called White Nights. This is a thriller written by Cleeves. Book number 1 was pretty fun. This one says, in this second thriller of the highly acclaimed, here we go, Shetland Island series. So it's the Shetland Island series, featuring Inspector Jimmy Perez. The launch of an exhibition at the Herring House Art Gallery is disturbed by a stranger who bursts into tears, then claims not to remember who he is or where he comes from. The next day he's found dead. Set in midsummer, the book captures the unsettling nature of a landscape where the sun never quite sets and where people are not as they first seem. And this is Shetland, and it is in Scotland. And the last book I have to tell you about is another sequel. So I loved book number 1, and book number 1 is a mafia. They're not really a series. This is more like a companion novel, but it's not labeled as a series, at least on Goodreads. But book number 1 was by this author was a dark mafia romance full of content and trigger warnings. This one I think might also have a list. Let me see. Book number 1 had a list of the content and trigger warnings in the front. This one does too. This has 2 pages of trigger warnings. So please, please, please look this up. This particular book, my understanding is that this is also another dark mafia, and I'm finding I really like dark mafia romance. One of my favorite things. If someone tells me it's a mafia romance, I'm already hooked. And I'm already going to assume it's going to be dark. And this is thick. This book is 698. Nope, with the epilogue, it is 705 pages. And this one is Snaring, Emberly by Gigi Styx. Loved the first book. And this one says, revenge was supposed to be simple, but love had other plans. So we have 2 POVs on this. And the first one alternated between 2 POVs as well. This one we have Emberly and Roman. Underneath Emberly it says, when an abusive ex corners me in a nightclub, I cling to the first man I see for protection. Little do I know, he's a mafia don, fresh out of prison and eager for a one-night stand. One night extends into 2, then 3. I'm beginning to suspect I can't leave. But every time I raise questions, he answers with offers impossible to resist. There we go. Sometimes it's hard to tell if I'm just paranoid or a pawn in a much larger game. And then underneath Roman, it says, when a man gets jailed for a crime he didn't commit, the first thing he wants after leaving death row is vengeance. The bastard who framed me stole my fortune and bequeathed it to his daughter, Emberly. My plan is simple. Seduce her. Force her to give back what's mine, then put a bullet through her skull. But one taste of her gets me obsessed, and my plans turn to dust. So, that is Snaring Emberly, and I'm really excited to get to this one. So those are the rest of the books that I got in the month of June. Let me know, have you read any of these books? Have you read from any of these authors before? Let me know. Talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.